What do you say, Pip?
Hey guys, okay, so it's Friday evening. Lighting's not great here, but we're going live because I have the Jade Teta, best-selling author, metabolism genius, in the house, but also built a multi-7-figure business, Metabolic Effect. You guys probably know that, metaboliceffect.com. If you haven't, check it out. Make sure you guys check out his personal brand, Jade Teta, where he talks all about relationships, mindset, etc. But he's also on the DL, a business genius. So I wanted to talk to him today and bring him on for our day number 11 of online business to talk about what makes people interesting. So we've talked about this a lot. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I went over kind of some of the criteria that I believe makes someone at least more charismatic or a little bit more interesting or stand out and kind of have an X factor. So let's start with that question. What do you think helps people stand out online?
I mean, it's hard, right? I'm going to say the unpopular thing, but I do think, and we were talking about this just before you turned this on, but I do think you have to have, I think one of the things is an interesting look.
Okay.
Now,
describe interesting look.
Well, not necessarily good looking. Like, take me, for example. Like, I wouldn't say anyone would be like, Jade, you're, like, I have a particular look about me. Like, I'm not universally attractive, but you can look at me and be like, he kind of looks like Cro-Magnon bald man or whatever. Like, I just look unique. So I think that helps. And I think certainly people I talk to oftentimes say, like, you know, they say, oh, well, it's easy for you because you're a good looking girl. You know what I mean? And I think that is not necessarily the case, but I do think you have an interesting look. And I also think, though, right, I remember, did you do that training with me, by the way, World's Greatest Speaker Training?
No, I didn't do it.
Oh, okay, so you didn't do
Brendan
it.
Burchard.
But so I do think this, Brendan Burchard's World's Greatest Speaker Training. I did that training, and one of the things about that training is it struck me because I was just like, well, that's interesting because you can, by the way you move and the way you inflect and the way your voice has sort of a sing-song nature about it, and you move around and all that kind of stuff, you can make yourself look more interesting. So I don't know that it's good looks. I just think it's interesting looks. And
so say you are someone who is just getting started online and you're just kind of maybe, you know, maybe this is a second career for you. Maybe you were a mom, like you are kind of starting a second career where you're going through getting certified and you're kind of like, okay, I'm mid-30s, late 30s, 40s, wanting to start online business. How do I make myself look different?
And see, to me, this is actually really easy because we all see this, right? So we see polished images all the time, right? Like on
polished, you mean like
polished images, meaning that on magazine covers, in movies, in all of that stuff. And what we don't necessarily see is just someone coming online with like a big ass damn afro or you know a bed afro or something like that, who
like
comes bedhead or just like showing up normal. And so I do think, I mean, you don't want to do that all the time, but I do think showing up as the way you actually look is an interesting thing. I think also, you know, there's these certain things that we have about ourselves that we do to the people who are close to us, you know, the way we move, the way we animate, that we tend to shut off once we think someone's watching us on video. I think that you want to keep those things. And so I think showing up natural has a place. And I also think some of the stuff you learn in speaker training where you move a lot, you let people see you move, you let people see you animate, you inflect your voice, you know, all that kind of stuff I do think matters to get people to notice you.
So if you were to start right now, you would do video.
I'd probably do video. And actually, I'll tell you this, and you'll laugh your ass off at this because I think we talked about this before. Remember when we first started doing video? There's this weird shit when we first started doing video.
Yes, this is funny.
The video.
If you guys go to Metabolic Effects YouTube page and watch in like 2010, 2011, the videos that we're putting out were so low energy. And you're going to tell them why.
No, because like when I first started doing video, I thought that, oh, you better like look relaxed and like totally like
chill.
So basically my videos were like this. Hey, this is Jade. going on, everybody? Just hanging out. And that's what it was like, right? And I'd watch that and you'd be like, you know.
But you know what? The content, here's the thing. Well, first of all, you were able to break through in 2010 because there just weren't as many people doing it. And also your content has always been really good. So people are willing to put up, like my #1 YouTube video ever is 10 fat loss tips for women. It's a 25-minute video, which is extremely long. 25-minute video, 10 fat loss tips for women. And I'm so low energy, but I think people just are searching for that term and they love the content. So they end up watching it. So your content has always been really good.
Well, yeah. And honestly, I mean, if you don't look, there's plenty of people out there doing it, but I think we would be lying if we said that we don't like looking at good looking people or interesting looking. I don't even know. It's not good looking. It's just interesting looking people, right? You know, it's just like I don't know.
So, okay. So besides the look, what else? So let's just talk about Instagram for a second. When you scroll through Instagram, what catches your eye in the feed? Because I get a lot of questions about people like, how do I grow my Instagram following? And for me, it's hard because a lot of times
hard.
Instagram is hard. And Facebook is even harder, but Instagram is hard because your content needs to be really good, but it also needs to be aesthetically pleasing because people are scrolling. So you can't have a shitty photo and like a really amazing description. You can, because you get away with that because you'll know that about you. But for a lot of us who are just getting started, like if it's a shitty photo with like bad lighting that's not grabbing someone's attention, you can have the most amazing description, but people aren't going to read it if they're not captivated by the photo.
Well, and let's be honest, like here's the interesting thing. Like I fully admit at this point, I'm not great on any of the social media because I just do what I do, you know? So this is one thing I'll say. People always said, don't put long descriptions on Instagram. People don't want it that way. And I'm like, well, I don't want to post on Instagram unless I'm doing that. Like I don't blog too much anymore. So on my Instagram handle, that's where you'll read my blogs. And so to a large degree, I don't know that and my Instagram following honestly is small.
Really?
And I bought some of my Instagram followers just for
Tell us about that, because should people buy followers on Instagram? I've never bought them, but I'd be interested to know.
I don't think people should buy their following on Instagram.
Why did you buy followers?
But what? Anyone who knows me, see, I'm just very honest and like straight up about this stuff. But and it drives, I think, Jill nuts sometimes because she's more savvy than me at this point. I go to her for all my information about what to do. But I'm an experimenter, so I just like to experiment. But I will tell you guys about this experiment. So I had, I don't know, 8,000 Instagram followers, right? And you know, not that, you know, like in a fairly, I guess, I mean, I have fairly good activity, I guess. I don't know, but I had a hunch. I was like, you know, Instagram's like one big high school. It's just a high school. It's just high school all over again. So I had a hunch that if you had a large following, that people would come to my stuff, look at it and be like, oh, who is this guy? Oh, he's got a large following. So social proof. So I will then follow him. That's what my hunch was. I was just like,
well, I think that's what everyone's hunch. I think that's why people like to buy followers, because as soon as someone likes your stuff or someone comments, what's the first thing you do? You go and check out their profile. And then if they have a huge follower to following ratio, then you go, this person must be somebody. Yeah.
And it's basically, you know, the social media in itself is just one big high school extension of.
But it's also the way we interact. So we, in a way, you have to kind of take it seriously.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely how you interact, and it is how we socialize now. But the point, I guess, that I'm saying is I had this hunch that, look, if I want to get a following, people will show up because of something that someone shares. They'll look at me and they'll be like, this guy's got 7,000 followers and I'm not interested. So I just had a hunch and I didn't really care. And I don't typically care, as you know. So I just said, oh, I'm going to buy. I forget how many I bought. I bought like 7,000 or maybe more than that, 7,000 followers. Yeah. So I doubled my following. Went to 14.
How much did it cost you?
Like $29.
$29. Were they real people?
They were real people. They were real people, all of them from Brazil. None of them, you know, but it was interesting. So what happened is I got a huge 7,000 extra people. I went to 14,000. Then I immediately dropped over the next couple of weeks to 10,000. But what happened was I did this, I measured it. So before that, I was getting, like many of you guys will know on Instagram, I was getting like maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 new followers a day. and I was being unfollowed anywhere from, I don't know, 3 to 5 unfollows. So just this slow trickle upward. Once I did this and had 14,000 followers, all of a sudden that went to about 30 new individuals, right, per day. And like at first, huge amounts of unfollows because all these people who, I don't know how they do this. They must hack into people and be like, oh, you're following this guy now. And then they look and be like, who's this guy? And they unfollow. But what ended up happening is I had a lot more new followers. And I think what was happening is because they're finding you in your feed and then they start following. And I just figured, look, if my content is good, that's going to be a good investment of my time. I don't care what anyone thinks about whether I bought followers or not. I'm just trying to reach people. So certain people are going to come and they're going to stay. And I think that's what happened. The other thing I did, which is really interesting, and my good friend Bruno Gunn turned me on to this. He goes, hey, man, you should try to get a blue check on your Instagram. And I was like, blue check? Like, who's going to give me a blue check? He's like, well, you're an author and, you know, you have a unique name and you should just apply. So, like, I don't know. I said, okay. So I applied somewhere. I don't even know where I applied, but I just said, look, I got a unique name, Jade Teta, and I'm just, you know, want a blue check to, you know, I'm an author, I'm a best-selling author, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I forgot all about it. And like, what, 2 years later, all of a sudden a blue check pops up. And that, since I got that blue check too, all of a sudden I get more followers. Now, I still don't have huge amounts of followers, but the point is that it is really, one, it's just high school stuff, number one. Number two, if you're putting out good work, you're going to get noticed. But with Instagram, just understand, like, you know, that is a following that I think it's a much smaller following and a slower following, but it's also like more rabid fans. So you know that whole thing, like 1,000 true fans. Like I feel like the people who follow me on Instagram and stay following me really like me. You know, they better because they get my true personality on Instagram.
Okay, and so I want to go back to, and I love the Instagram discussion because I feel like when people say things like so-and-so posted, we always just automatically know they mean Instagram. Like that's kind of like the default, I feel like, platform at this point.
Well, actually, Gary was telling me today, Gary's my business partner and tech guru, and he was saying that only 30%, and Gary, if you're on somewhere, maybe you can confirm this, but he was telling me only 30% of Facebook users now actually interact with brands. So in other words, all those followers that you have, like I have 120 some thousand followers on Metabolic Effect, maybe 30% are even active with the brand, probably less. And he said it's basically like 70% on Instagram are active with the brands. And so that's going to probably change, but that's what he was telling me. You know, Gary keeps up with this stuff.
Well, Facebook is definitely changing. So I don't know if you guys know or this has been rolled out to you yet. However, small businesses, personal brands on Facebook, they're actually going to be a second tab that's just going to be for pages that you like. So the newsfeed is actually just going to be your friends and family. It's going to be all your friends and people on your personal page. And you're actually going to have to click on a separate tab if you want to see brands or pages that you like. So if you're getting started in online business, you do need a Facebook business page for Facebook ads. However, it's going to be even tougher for people to start to see you anymore. So what I've been sharing with my girls is my advice is to treat your personal page as part of your business platform. So friend as many possible people as you can. If you're in closed Facebook groups, try to friend as many people in those groups. Try to get to 5,000 friends as fast as possible, and also start your followers, because there's followers on a personal page as well. And treat your personal Facebook page and your business page as one big business platform if you are a personal brand. So Jill Coleman is a business page, but Jill Coleman is also a personal page, right? So I'm trying to treat both of those as the same brand if it's a person. So, and that's your whole platform. So if your friends and family don't like caring about fitness and nutrition, then it's kind of fine, right? Because if this is going to be your business, and then connect with them outside of Facebook, because Facebook needs to be more of a business platform for you. And if you still want to kind of like share pictures of maybe your family or things like that you don't feel comfortable being part of your business, maybe start like a separate private, maybe personal page, and just only accept, I know you've done that a little bit, accept only people that are, you know, like in your close-knit friends and family. But if you have a personal page, like I would just go all in on your personal page and try to get to 5,000 friends as fast as possible, and then just make that part of your business platform. because it just visibility sucks for business pages. Okay, so last question for you is, if you were starting your online personal brand, which you kind of are now, I mean, you're a couple years into it.
Yeah, I am.
But you did bring over a whole bunch of people from Metabolic Effect. But you're starting from scratch. I know what I would do. What would be your approach?
You know, my
would it be
approach
podcasting? Would it be YouTube? What would it be?
Honestly, at this point, it probably would be podcasting or YouTube. And that's not because it has anything to do with the fact that it's like, oh, you should do podcasting and YouTube because they're hot right now. It's just because, honestly, I blogged for a long time, and I don't know that I could sustain a blog at this point.
Yeah.
I like to talk more, and video is just easier. You turn this on, you start talking to people. So it really would be ease, because it's consistent content constantly to build a brand. I mean, It really is. And so I would be looking for, what can I do that allowed me to do that? So I'd probably do video. And then I think, how do I automate that process? Which would mean, if I'm going to be doing video, then I definitely will use YouTube. I'll definitely be using Facebook Live and all that kind of stuff. So to me, it's think about what you will actually do. We tend to be like, instead people go, oh, well, podcasting is in, but will you do it? Yep. Oh, blogging is in, but will you do it? Oh, Snapchat is in now. I posted one thing on Snapchat. Not because I don't think Snapchat is great, just because I won't use the platform. So think about what platform you will use, what kind of content you're going to be putting out, and then think about all the different places that you can put that. To me, it's like this, right? Video is where I would go, because I can do a Facebook Live. I can save that. I can
put it on YouTube.
I can also while I'm doing Facebook Live, I can Instagram Live something as well.
And pull in 1 minute.
I can use ScreenFlow to record that as well, or take down the Facebook Live and put those, chop those clips up and put them up, and I can put that on YouTube. And so to me, I can't really do that with a blog that great.
Right.
So to me, I'm like, I can do one video and have 5 pieces of content to put elsewhere.
Right.
And I also would say this, I would focus at this point, I would be focusing on video, and I'd probably be like 3 things at the most. And for me, it would be Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube right now, with an eye towards, if I'm audio and video is my method. And by the way, if you do video, right, you can immediately cut that into an audio, right?
Yep.
And so that's why, if I was going to do a podcast, you see some people, I think it's a mistake if you do a podcast and you only do the MP3. Like, why not capture the video? Because then you have video for YouTube, right? And then audio for the podcast. Right. And then you can chop up those into 1 minute segments to put on Instagram.
Right.
And so to me, it's like, what can you do one time that turns into 3, 4, 5 pieces of content?
Yeah. Well, a third of all content online is video content consumed now. So, and here's the cool thing about Facebook Live. So if I was just starting, I would honestly just do Facebook Lives. So I don't know if you guys know Lori Harder. She's a good friend of mine, and she kind of was similar to what we do. And she's great. And she just she woke up, I don't know, it was a year or 6 months or something she did. And she just got on Facebook Live every single morning in her bathrobe. And I thought it was genius. It was 5 minutes. It wasn't a big long thing. It was 5 minutes. And, it was talk about bedhead. It was bedhead. And it was just this one little inspirational thing. And I loved it because it was so real.
Well, what's funny about Lori? Lori's interesting because Lori is talking about looks. Lori's gorgeous, but Lori also does the interesting look factor, because she'll just show up so natural that you're intrigued. You're just like, oh my God, I've seen her so made up on a cover of a magazine, and I get to see her first thing in the morning when she wakes up, and that's what people want to see.
I was gonna say, that's the thing that I loved about it. It was so accessible. So people at this point, because there's so many opportunities for behind the scenes and for transparency, people are a little suspicious by anything that's too polished. So that's why things like Facebook Live, Instagram Live, people really want to feel as though they're hanging out with you in your living room, which quite literally, we're doing that right now. It's Friday night and we're about to go to dinner. And this is more interesting, I feel than something that's super highly polished. So that's the good news. You can afford to do these things pretty low tech. And you want to have sometimes where you do kind of maybe higher production stuff. But the good news is there's a ton of education around YouTube and things like that. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that in 2018, so I'm excited. And also, just fuck it. Sometimes you just need to bring a dog in, and then your shit will just go viral. And a beatboxer. All right, that's it from us. We're going to dinner. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I will see you tomorrow. And make sure you follow Jade Teta. He's the bomb.
And PipThePumps.com.